I'm Gabrielle.
Not that far yet.
A couple years. Stacey, it's a broad question, but is there someone that you would really recommend this practice to? If they were struggling maybe with something with their life or in their body that you think this could really call to them?
Yeah, I mean, definitely is beneficial for everyone, I think. But I'd say, people if there's a stuckness, sometimes you just feel really stuck in your lives, and people will use that term a lot. And this practice really can help to just open up the possibilities for different directions. Sometimes I've seen people who they've come to the practice and they're like that football dancer, right? They look like me, well, there I am, And I just see them opening to different things, and then they start on a different path, right? It's very subtle, like just by opening up that energy in their bodies and getting more embodied in themselves. I find people become more in tune with what it is they really want, and then they can move in that direction, So I really, I would say people who are, if you're in a life crisis, you get in those points of like, what am I doing with my life? This is a great practice for that, for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. Just literally just move it, shake it out.
Yeah. I love, Gabrielle has a quote that I use a lot. It's, what is it? Put your psyche in motion. Put your psyche in motion and it will heal itself.
Wow.
And it's so true. Like that you don't even have to know, you don't have to think. Like when we get in those stuck places, like, oh, I need to know what I'm going to do. And we don't. Like our body knows. And if we can just listen and move it, it'll reveal itself. It's really helped me a lot in that way.
Stacey, I'm curious if your meditation practice has shifted at all since the 5Rhythms has become part of your life.
Yeah, it's interesting. It has and it hasn't. I definitely feel more when I'm in meditation and more in tune with the movement that's happening in my body. So they actually really complement each other. I know there was at one point I've done some very long retreats, and one year I was doing a 1-month retreat, and all my dancer friends were like, "Are you kidding me? You're not going to move for a month?" And I thought, you have no idea. Like a couple weeks into the retreat, I remember sitting there one day and just really feeling my body was still moving. It was still doing the 5Rhythms practice without moving at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they really complement each other, and and then the meditation practice then comes into my dance practice. So it's like I can be much more present, and if I get lost, I can come back to my breath. I can use that reference. So they're a beautiful marriage together, actually. Yeah. So I find both of them have benefited from the other.
Good. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Stacey, you have all these other amazing elements of part of your life and part of your work, the body work, the energy work, the shamanic work, and I'm just wondering if you could talk a bit about, maybe we can start with the Reiki, what your journey with Reiki, and then also how it ties into your work with the 5Rhythms.
Yeah. Well, I started doing just regular body work in '98, I guess. Yeah, and kind of the same thing. I just kind of followed this flow, right, and ended up taking a Reiki class, and it really struck me. And it's interesting because it is very much, it's movement of energy, right? So it's like I was still in movement. It's very subtle, and just kind of followed that path and ended up, being a Reiki teacher again. It was kind of that same thing.
And was that years in the making, or was it all kind of a very quick path?
It was, in the beginning I did, Reiki there's various levels, and I did Reiki 1 and 2 within a year of each other, actually within a couple of months of each other. And then I took a break and just practiced for a while, which is actually what I encourage people to do, to really get the practice in their bodies. And so I did those in '98, and then did my Reiki master training in 2003, so that was where I trained to actually be a teacher, and then apprenticed with my teacher and assisted her in classes. So, it was a good year of, training as a teacher and getting down what I needed to do. So I started teaching, like on and off in 2004, and now I teach a lot. But yeah, it's been a beautiful journey of healing, and it definitely comes into I'm realizing more and more as I'm teaching that, as I'm reading a room, like I'll have, plan kind of a theme for the week, but then as I go in and kind of you know, I call in that Reiki energy and work with just kind of what does this room need, what's happening. So it really helps me to see what's needed and where we can go with the movement. Yeah, so they really, tying them together more and more, it's an interesting marriage.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the body work, Stacey, do you feel like that plays in as well? I mean, the physical touch?
Not as much. I would say, yeah, not as much. I mean, the body work I do is very subtle anyways. I mean, I do massage, sometimes I'll combine it, but mostly the people that come to me are coming for deep energy work, so it's very, very subtle. So we're working on a deeper, like, beyond the body level, which I find actually the benefits can be longer lasting and more deep when you're really working energetically. But that part definitely comes into the 5Rhythms teaching, because that is the same, right? It's not really, it's a great workout and it's working with your body, but there's this place that's beyond the physical where that energy is moving, right? And so they're very, yeah, sometimes I'm feeling those things kind of dancing together, you know, and drawing on that, the playfulness of the energies in either practice. And sometimes even when I'm working on someone, I might move their arm a little bit, like, you know, shake it or follow the movement of it. So they're definitely influencing each other.
Interesting, Stacey. I'm curious if you talk about, you know, really tuning in and working with this deep energy. When you started as a body worker, is that where you were starting, or?
I didn't. Well, I actually, because the very first training I did was in Thailand. I did a Thai massage course, which I don't practice that anymore, but that's where I first touched into energy and what that was, you know, in someone's body. And then,
what was that experience like?
It was interesting. It was, I wasn't quite sure at the time, and a lot of my stuff came up. Like, I was really in it. I'm in Thailand doing a Thai massage course, right? You'd think I'd be like, and I just was seeing how things were being triggered and how they got moved, and, you know, as we worked on each other, I saw the benefit of it, and everybody was going through their stuff. And then as we'd work on each other and help to, you know, move the energy or, you know, just guide it where it needs to go, we just became, oh, okay, there's, again, that spaciousness. I had space for what was happening. So that was kind of the palpable, like, oh, like, life is still happening. I'm not going to change that. And my triggers are happening, but I can change, but this energy can help me shift how I respond to it, you know, or how I am around it. So, yeah, so that's really what sparked my interest. And then I did the massage training just because it was what you did, right? You got a massage certificate, and I love that work still, you know, it's beautiful, but it just didn't have the depth for me. I really like that beyond the physical place that can go with that.
Yeah, was that always a part of you, Stacey? Do you feel like?
It's funny. It was definitely there. I grew up in a much more conservative family, you know. So I was kind of the hippie girl. Yeah. And I'm not a hippie. But yeah, so it wasn't part of my growing up, but there was something there. I always was curious of what was, you know, something. I didn't know what it was. And I actually ended up traveling for many years, and during my travels is when I really started to open to, like, oh, there really is something beyond here. And I started to open up more and did some shamanic stuff in Peru, and whoa. So it was really the traveling that really opened me up to it. That's when I really started to feel into what was happening.
Wow, wow. I would love to hear more about that. Just, well, I guess to start, as a shamanic practitioner, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a good question, because, you know, it's, I have a friend that one time laughed, like, it's so funny, here we are, a bunch of white people with rattles saying we're shaman, which is kind of true in a way. You know, sometimes I hesitate to use that, but the term shamanic really can be so much broader, you know, and it's really, you know, it's really about working with the energies that are moving through us. Again, it's very tied in to, like, to me, 5Rhythms is really shamanic as well, because there's these energies that are moving us. And I feel like that's what I work with when I'm working with people. You know, they're like, oh, I want you to change this and that. It's like, well, what's your body doing, right? So I can help you to deal with whatever's happening that you want to change. But let's find how your energy is moving and go with it. You know, and there are deeper things in shamanic practices about, you know, you can remove energies that are unwanted or find power animals and things like that. But I tend to work more in the realm of just kind of seeing what's there and what wants to be expressed, and help people to find ways to manifest that, you know, through their energetics, through movement, or through body work. Or, so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This might be an impossible question to answer, Stacey, but
You told me you weren't going to tell me what hard questions
Okay,
are.
probably won't be too hard, I imagine. But, you know, do people ever come and say, I have back pain, and like, can you fix it for me in this amount of time? And how do you deal with the process of how long it's going to take? And
yeah, it's an interesting process because we're a culture, right? If we want to fix something, like my back hurts, fix it.
Right.
Which is great, you know. But I really, what I've seen through my work is that there's something deeper that's happening. You know, it's either some emotional something or something's trying to get your attention. You know, there are accidents that happen, but why did the accident happen? You know, sometimes we need to slow down or whatever. So there is an element of this work, and sometimes somebody has back pain and I work on them and they're fine. Right. But it's not me, you know, it's just, okay, their energy moved and it's time. But in general, I would say it's a longer process than that, because it is really, the work really opens up people so that they can see what's happening inside, and it might mean they have to face some of their own stuff, you know. So it's very interactive work, I find. You know, people need to be willing to also do their own work and feel what they need to feel, and if they're willing to do that, it can go quicker, right? So if they have the back pain and they're willing to just be with what's happening and notice what's coming up, then each time the session can kind of help, you know, expand their consciousness to be able to be with it, and eventually the pain does go away, you know. So, and it's a longer lasting thing, right, rather than a quick fix. So sometimes, you know, nothing against massage, sometimes that is exactly what's needed, like a traditional sort of massage. But sometimes people just feel better and then they go out and then something else happens, and it's all kind of related to the same maybe emotional issue or something deeper that's happening. So, you know, sometimes it's hard for people to have the patience to keep working through stuff like that.
Do you work with words then also, Stacey?
I don't in general. It's interesting. I work very much in stillness. You know, sometimes if I'm not a psychic or, you know, I don't necessarily get information, and I put a lot of pressure on myself for years, like, oh, I should be giving people, you know, advice on what they should do. And sometimes I do get information and I'll share it with them after the session, but I find more than anything that this work is about just being in stillness together and opening the channel so their inner wisdom can come, so they're getting the information. And I actually at one point was questioning whether I wanted to do it because I felt people were giving me their power. Like, you know, okay, what should I do?
Wow.
And I realized, like, this actually is about you getting the information. Let me know. Call me. Let me know what you did and what worked and what didn't. And that's where it really works. You know, and I find that's something that's really important to me in my work, is really empowering people to take responsibility for their own healing. You know, in all of the different things that I do. That feels really important, so that they're not projecting it all onto me. Right.
Yeah. You fixed me, you didn't fix me, or...
Oh, yeah. And I get both.
Yeah. And I remember a teacher saying to me, he's like, you know, when someone says, like, thank you so much, like, I feel so much better, I lost all this weight, you, like, did this for me. He's like, that feels, my ego really wants to take that on. But actually, you did that, you know? Exactly.
It's like I just held the space, I just helped open up the channel, you know, but I didn't do anything. You know, it's the same in the dance. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm just providing the space, and then magic happens. Yeah.
Stacey, I'm curious about how you said you had that moment where you questioned whether you wanted to do it or not. How did you decide to, okay, this is something that I will continue with?
Yeah, you know, I just took a little break. It wasn't long, but I just needed a little space around it just to see, you know. And I feel like just the contemplation itself, all of a sudden people started to come to me that were more willing to do their work.
Wow.
So I think it was me actually realizing that, you know, I don't want to work with people that it's just a quick fix. Like, I want to work with people who are